Good evening. Twin and newborn babies have died and their mother is in a coma after paramedics were unable to get to her. Jocelyn Bennett, who was 32 weeks pregnant, dialed 999 when she felt unwell at her home. But when paramedics arrived, they couldn't get into the tower block. Jocelyn's family have blamed a faulty lock. Her baby girls were delivered by emergency caesarean but suffered multiple organ failure. Callum Watkinson sent this report.
This is Pleck House in Druids Heath, where 27-year-old Jocelyn Bennett, heavily pregnant, called for an ambulance at about 20 to 6 last Wednesday morning after suffering a placental abruption. By the time paramedics arrived here, she was not able to let them in herself, and it was another half hour before they got to her after gaining entry with the help of the police. She was rushed to Birmingham Women's Hospital, where she gave birth by caesarean section to twin baby girls who Jocelyn's family have called Melody and Rose. Both were born 8 weeks premature, both suffered multiple organ failure, and both have spent the entirety of their short lives on life support. Now, when we arrived here at lunchtime, we found an electrician working on the entry phone system, and we were told by another resident that it has been defective for as long as she has lived here.
It doesn't work at all. There used to be a code you could punch in, but when they came to fix it a few months ago, they connected ours and lost everyone else. Then they connected everyone else's and now ours don't work, and now none of it works.
In a statement, Birmingham City Council, which owns this block, said we have systems to provide emergency access to our blocks for the emergency services, and an urgent investigation was commissioned as soon as we were made aware of this matter. Jocelyn Bennett remains in a coma in hospital. If and when she wakes up, it will be to the news that her baby daughter's life support has now been switched off. The card on a bunch of flowers left here by members of her family reads, "Melody and Rose, time to go now. You've been playing with Mummy for 6 precious days." Callum Watkinson, ITV News, Druids Heath.
Rolls-Royce has announced that thousands of jobs are to go as part of a programme to reduce costs and improve efficiency. It says 2,600 jobs will be lost over the next 18 months, mainly in the aerospace division. The company employs staff at 4 locations in the Midlands, including its headquarters in Derby, Warwick and Anstey near Coventry. Councillors in Coventry are warning they'll have £50 million less to spend on public services by 2020. Officials say they may have to find savings of £65 million by 2017, with £15 million being cut from its budget for next year. It's thought up to 1,000 council jobs could go in the next 3 years, with around 100 centres for children, families, adult education and libraries having to close. Figures obtained by ITV News Central reveal that in the past 6 months, hundreds of women with female genital mutilation have been seen by health workers in Midlands hospitals. It comes after the government made it compulsory for hospitals to record every case of FGM to see how widespread it is. Campaigners say the move is a step in the right direction, but FGM survivors I've been speaking to say more needs to be done. All these women are originally from the Gambia in Africa, and they have all had female genital mutilation performed on them when they were children as part of a cultural tradition.
I was at the age of 5, and I was told that we were going to a relative's house to attend a party, so our parents bought us new clothes, and then we were all excited. We went there, and to our disappointment, we found out that the party was not a party. Instead, our smiles turned out to be tears.
They will grab you, blindfold you, and then 2 elders, some will hold your legs. They will take one of your legs apart and the other one apart, and then somebody will hold your hands, and then they will cover your mouth so that people won't hear you scream. I was at the age of 8. I can remember everything still now.
Adama nearly died from the blood loss. Now living in Birmingham, all these women say they still suffer from the consequences of FGM, including problems giving birth. Doctors say FGM has no health benefits. It's illegal in this country, but is still being performed on children. It's estimated that 60,000 girls are at risk of FGM in this country every year, a number which health workers say is simply too high.
I see around 6 to 7 women every week. It's far too many who have gone through this barbaric practice where they have so much suffering and causes the most vast amount of distress, pain and complications for women generally, and it needs to stop.
The government agrees, which is why since April hospitals have been required to record every case of FGM, and the numbers are already shocking. Figures obtained by ITV Central from just 4 hospitals in the West Midlands show that in the last 6 months, 418 women were seen with FGM. But in reality, that figure is likely to be far higher, as many other hospitals were unable to release their statistics. How significant do you think it is that the Department of Health is now making hospitals record data?
There's always been uncertainty about the amount of women who are presenting in hospitals, and this is a way of actually collaborating that data and getting it together. I think it's going to be a big shock to them. They think it's something that just happens, a tiny little bit here and isn't really an issue. And I think people will be really surprised and shocked to see the amount of women who have suffered this.
Alison has been running a specialist FGM clinic at Heartlands Hospital in Birmingham for 12 years. She believes the government is finally taking steps to tackle it. But according to these women, more needs to be done.
You have to create awareness, health education, to make people realize what they are doing is bad and it has some lifetime implications.
Now that I had these experiences, I wouldn't want my child to go through it. I can't allow it.
These women say they are FGM survivors and are hoping by speaking out they'll help to save the next generation of girls. A 5-year-old girl from Walsall is recovering well after surgery to repair a gap in her spine. Rosie Davis was born with a rare condition that meant 5 of her vertebrae were missing. Surgeons amputated her lower legs, which she couldn't use anyway, and used the bones to bridge the gap. It's only the second time the procedure has ever been attempted, as Emma Woods reports.
They cut off her legs to save her life. Not that 5-year-old Rosie Davis has had much time to miss them. She's too busy enjoying the newfound freedom the operation has given her after doctors in Birmingham used part of her tibia to repair a gap in her spine.
Now, because her spine's completely straight, she's fast. She goes upstairs, she climbs everything. Nothing is a challenge. She just never sees herself as having a disability or unable to do anything. She'll just take anything in her stride, and if she can't, she'll adapt to do it.
Her problem was that she couldn't sit and eat, and she was having difficulty breathing because with no support between her pelvis and her chest, she fell forward and her chest rested on her thighs. And so we were fairly clear that this was a thing that unfortunately was going to happen to Rosie as her upper torso, which is normal, got bigger.
The solution was to remove Rosie's lower legs and use the bone to bridge the gap. The joint was supported by a specially designed implant attached to her pelvis. The decision to go ahead was not a difficult one for her mother.
She was like a time bomb, and we didn't know what damage it was going to do to the organs. Losing the lower half of her legs, which were of no use to her. It wasn't even a decision, because I'd rather have her as she is now than not at all.
Rosie was only the second person in the world to have this operation. She now has every chance of living well into old age, and she has her heart set on a modified Paralympic bicycle. The only worry for Mandy these days, it seems, is how she's going to keep up. Emma Woods, ITV News.
OK, here's your weather now.
Wishing you a warm winter. Solar PV from Northern Gas Heating sponsors the ITV local weather.
Hello and good evening. So we have got some outbreaks of rain coming our way on Thursday, but ahead of it, the next 24 hours are not actually looking too bad for us. Now, for the rest of tonight, there is a small chance we could see an isolated shower, but for most of us, it's dry. We've got some clear spells and temperatures there down to freezing. So that is going to take us into a nippy start to the day tomorrow. As I say, there will be some bright or sunny spells, just a small chance of the odd shower here and there, but for many, plenty of sunshine developing during the afternoon, but it is feeling chilly still. We're looking at highs of 10 degrees. And if you are making plans for bonfire night, well, it is looking mostly dry, but we'll be feeling rather chilly. Bye-bye.
Solar PV from Northern Gas Heating sponsors the ITV local weather.
That's it for tonight. Have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.